The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Oh, it's an exciting time to be on campus at Carson-Newman. Like most schools our size, homecoming's a very big event. You'll see a whole lot of alums and former players back to visit on campus. A lot more parents and those kind of things will be here for that. So it's got its greatness about it, and it's got its distractions about it. And you know, as a football team, you have to understand, man, this is a great week to be on campus. A lot of people here, a lot of interested people here, but you got to make sure you got your focus with you.
How do you, as a head coach, manage the distractions? Because not just the players, but that's a lot of people that are coming back Saturday that probably would like to give you a hug and a handshake.
Well, and that's great. It's called Maylocks, but you got it all works out. But you do know that this is the time of year that's great, and you're glad to have those people on campus and enjoy the time with them.
Newberry had been struggling offensively, and then wow. Chance Walker happens against Catawba. If he's that National Player of the Week, hasn't come out yet, but if it's not him, I'd love to see the game somebody had to beat 262 yards and 6 touchdowns. What sticks out to you about the day that he had?
Gosh, you look at his, and I read the article from the Salisbury paper on Sunday morning, and you see his stats before that, then you see his stats that day, and definitely that's a breakout game, not only for him but for the whole Newberry offense. But you're right, that event right there, that one day should garner some national attention, no doubt about it.
Colton Bailey has kind of settled into the role as their starter over Dre Harris. What sticks out to you about his game?
Well, he's a playmaker. He can beat you with his legs as well as with his arm. He's got some talented receivers, and they always have been in that situation at Newberry. And they'll try to get you going with play action, but also with a quarterback with design plays for him to run the football. And it goes back to the same kind of idea with a quarterback from Catawba.
How are they similar? How are they different? Kendall Davis to Colton Bailey.
Well, I think this guy is throwing it downfield more, okay, and they're looking to get it downfield more. They've got some speed there at wide out that can threaten you deep. So, and they've always been a football team, especially against us, that's going to crank it up and throw it deep.
You're still very much in the playoff picture. How do you avoid it letting a tough loss on the road to Lenore-Ryan, where you fought hard, you fought tooth and nail, but that ultimately came up short? How do you avoid letting that game beat you twice?
Well, we talked in the locker room after the game. You got to understand where you are, what caused you to be where you are, what happened. You got to be honest about that part, but you also have to be. You got to have that faith. You got to have that hope that you know where you stand nationally. And I think we would be standing in pretty good shape nationally there with our strength of schedule. But it all gets back to, we told them yesterday, start yesterday. How you prepared it yesterday, today, and every day this week to get ready to play Newberry. We can still control part of that story. There's still a story to be written about the 2019 team. And we can do a whole lot to control what that story is.
The biggest lesson you want your team to learn from a game like Saturday?
Well, I think there's the one lesson is that I didn't see any give up in those kids, Michael. I saw something happen there in the first 10 minutes of that could be devastating to a football team, and it was. I saw them, have the grit about them to come back and fight back to put themselves in a chance to win. I saw us make a couple critical errors there after we got back in that position to win that probably kept it from happening. The touchdown right before half, the fumble on the 5-yard line. We got in some situations Saturday where field position was definitely against us. And we talked to those kids yesterday. Football doesn't change 100 years ago, 100 years in the future. From now, it's about blocking and tackling. You've got to block on offense. You got to maintain the block. You've got to tackle well on defense. It's about field position. Okay, it's about turnovers and takeaways. We had 2 takeaways and 3 turnovers. That puts you behind the 8 ball. We missed some tackles. We didn't maintain blocks like we needed to maintain now. Lenore Ryan's a great football team, but I think our kids are very, very capable of playing and winning that football game, but we've got to control those mistakes.
With the offense, you guys were able to throw the ball very effectively. Is that something that you want to continue to do? We've talked about getting the ball in the hands of Braxton Westfield and the guys on the outside.
Right.
Is that something that you felt like has clicked that you guys will be able to use in the next 4 weeks?
No question. That's what we have to do. Yes, we've got to continue to find ways to get those guys to football. That's part of a first down mentality, like we've talked about. You don't have to run the option on first down to be productive, and that's what we got Saturday. We ended up changing some formations to make those things happen. And it's like in any football game, any team, us versus somebody else, you have things ready to go. They've made an adjustment to that. You got to change. And our kids, I think, were very receptible to making a couple changes in there, and that provided those 2 drives right before the half and had some success driving the football the other games. It's just those guys give us a dimension. And a Derek Evans and a Tyler Thackerson throwing the football give us a dimension along with the option.
Well, you look at the defense. Obviously, at the end of the day, you look at the scoreboard, and there's 36 points, but they did play really well. How has that unit really matured over the last few weeks?
Oh, that's definitely so. And we were shorthanded at times in there, where you can't be shorthanded against a team like Lenore Ryan. When you have some front guys out and not there and not available, we had some other guys step up and try to perform as admirably as they could, and they did. But again, the greatest thing you take away from that's the grit from these kids, the not give up, the continue to fight and battle, and try to give yourself a chance to win.
You look at Newberry defensively. No more Joe Blue, no more Marcus Henderson, and yet their defense is still clicking along. What stands out to you from that unit? Well,
it's athletes. They've got athletes at Newberry. They always have and always will have athletes offensively and defensively. And they've got kids that can run to the ball well. They execute well. They're always well coached by Todd Knight and his staff. But, they've got athletes on that football team as good as anybody's got.
2-game winning streak for Newberry. What do you get the sense of is the difference now for the Wolves compared to when they started 0-3?
Well, if you look at the games they played, those were all close games. And they played in North Greenville. They played, Florida Tech. They played those were close ball games. So I think it was a matter of those kids that they've got a lot of returners back on their football team. And it's just a matter of those kids keep coming together and believing, and I think that's where they are right now. They are very much like what you would see Newberry as, and I don't think the name's changing has anything to do with it.
Homecoming, what is your favorite part of this weekend?
Oh, I think it's all around it, the pageantry of it. I think people being back on campus that haven't been there in years or whatever, their excitement that they have and their love for Carson-Newman University, former players that are part of this tradition, and guys that have come in and set their legacy, and we'll talk more about our kids, and in the next 4 weeks they've got something to say about that story, but they've got something to say about the legacy that they're going to leave when they leave out of here at the end of this season.